Hello there. No, that title is not clickbait. It's not ironic. I'm not joking. I'm 100% serious when I say that Avengers is the most important film in the 21st century. Why do I think that? Well, you can skip to the timestamp below for the full argument. But in the meantime, you can join hands with me, and I'll take you on this little journey as we do a review of the Avengers, and we can really get into why I believe this film kind of tells the story of the time period from the 2000s all the way up to 2025, and will affect movies for at least another decade. But in order to do that, I'm welcoming you all to the Peak of Fiction podcast. The podcast where we dive into all kinds of media in an effort to find the very peak of fiction. And help me along to do this, I have Supa O.
Hey, what's good, everyone? Who's better to talk about superheroes than the Supa O himself? You feel me?
Or no one better. And Beto.
Hi, guys.
All right. So we, of course, are reviewing The Avengers from 2012. The movie that really changed kind of everything. And overall, I think I would say it's a pretty good time. As we get into the review, we'll just go over, I think, just how crucial this film is to kind of like understanding culture at large. But before we do that, we can give our initial impressions. Of course, you've seen this movie a few times. But on this last rewatch, what is your initial impressions of The Avengers?
Yeah, I first saw The Avengers in 2012, but not in theaters. It was shown to one of an elective class I was part of.
You didn't see it in theaters?
Nah. Actually, I was very late to the MCU trade. Like
you just said not for me.
It's not that. It just had like if it was a real like if it wasn't Spider-Man, I just didn't
care. Wow.
Yeah. I think Iron Man was the only one. The first Iron Man was like the only one I ever really saw, and I didn't even see that in theaters. I saw that like on a very reliable website. But no, I after seeing it though, I really liked the film. It was, even though, granted I was like 14, but I really enjoyed it, and watching it again now, I still have those same feelings I had as a kid. I think it's a really, really well done. Like, I forgot most of the plot up until now, so it was low key like I was watching it again. Except I only remember like key like certain parts and certain like lines, but like overall, like while Loki was there, even like Loki's like how Loki was like acting during the movie, along with some certain parts. Like I remember like a big thing was me. And I don't know if I just missed this part of the movie in my original watch, but like I remember Hawkeye kind of like acting under Loki's command for like most of the movie. So most of that time when on my first watch, I'm like, okay, this guy's just a bad guy. He's doing all of this. He's a bad guy, right? And I think I must have missed the part where they reverted him back, because I specifically remember like being so confused when he's fighting alongside the Avengers. I was just like, wait, when did he? Who is this guy?
He just tried up, yeah.
But no, I really, I really enjoyed the film. The heroes they put, I think that's a really solid lineup of heroes, especially for our first film, and they all bounce off each other so well. Especially Captain America and Iron Man. Like, you could tell this is where their ideals start clashing, but they still like work together. But it's like a real like when they're bouncing off of each other, they're bouncing there. It's great. It's great. And they're really, you can see everyone's relationship kind of a bit further. But yeah, I'll get more into it as we get into the review. But yeah, so far I still generally love this film.
But you are the proper cinephile. They call you the man of 1,000 movies.
Don't fear the man that watched 1,000 movies. Fear the man that watched the movie 1,000 times.
I do fear the man that watched a movie 1,000 times. Did you see that guy that watched like Captain Marvel like 50 times or something?
Yes, that's
insane.
That man is
Marvel.
Yeah,
yes.
Captain Marvel. Bro, that's like
the editors post a picture of that exact image of a selfie that Brie Larson took of her saying, "This man."
I truly don't know what you can possibly get out of.
I got it.
I'm sorry, there's one or two options. There's one or two options, right? One I feel bad for, and that is you might have some sort of mental deficiency, right, or disability, and you know maybe had Marvel gets you by, right?
Yeah.
Two, you're a pervert. And those are the only two options I have. I can't explain it any other way. I have no other explanation for why you'd watch Captain Marvel 50 times.
That is the most appropriate figuring out of what that man was doing.
I heard someone did something similar for Endgame, but that's Endgame at least.
There's more stuff happening. I don't know what you can possibly like derive from the 50.
I thought he was getting something from Brie Larson.
That's like getting 50 McDonald's hamburgers in a row. Yeah, so good.
It's gonna be good. One of these burgers gonna be good.
I don't understand.
I think your volume might be peaking a little bit for me, Pete.
Oh, okay, I got you. But yes, Beto, man of 1,000 movies, and true lover of cinema. How did it feel watching a movie that rewatching a movie that did irreparable harm to cinema for years to come?
Honestly, watching this movie again, it really shocks me that we're not making these kinds of movies again. It's shocking that how did we get here with this? How did this movie? Why did we just went ahead of ourselves, thinking that we need to do more when this movie is just not the final, but it's just the correct construction and standard to make
it's
a
the right amount, right?
It's the right amount.
Yeah.
And after this rewatch, I was like, wow, why can't we make why was everyone on the internet or everybody in forums, in discourse, why was everyone arguing? Please, fans, people listening, rewatch this movie and reconsider what you think about superhero movies and rewatch the whole MCU. If this movie isn't feeling like the Avengers, I don't know what to tell you. This is like not the gold standard, but I don't know. This is like it's crazy how we've gone so far, and I've had the original sentiments of how Supa O. I wasn't really into the MCU until like Guardians of the Galaxy and like Captain America: Winter Soldier. That's when I started getting into it. And I didn't even watch it in theaters. I watched it with my cousins, and they found it on they found this movie on a very particular site. Even while they were watching the movie, I fell asleep. So it took me a bunch of tries in early childhood to watch this movie completely. But as I said before, as I said earlier, this movie is a gem of itself. And as corny and as silly as it looks, it has some charms, and it's a gem that I've come to appreciate a lot more than what I have before, because I feel like it's a huge gap of years before I've seen, because I think I saw the Avengers one last time before when I did a whole rewatch of everything before Endgame came around, or Infinity War. But just this movie is just like a huge gem, and just like a reality awakening for me to be like, wow, we need to run it back a little bit here.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I think Avengers is the right amount for a team up movie without being like too indulgent.
Yeah.
I think the issue you get until even though Infinity War and Endgame are spectacular, it is you kind of throw in everything into the pot, and you can really only get it once. And I think it worked great for those two movies. But it's the difference between Avengers 1 and like where the MCU is now is like stunning.
Right.
Truly stunning. Yeah. Two different worlds. To do like a, I guess for me it would be The Wire, but I guess for you it would be a Snowfall. The product has been stepped on. Okay, the product has most definitely been stepped on since the Avengers day, and it's just not the same. There is like a certain amount of, I think because you're also dealing with this cast of like, well, the core like 6 Avengers, and Nick Fury, and it is able to really bring all these characters together in like such a great way. And I say, I'm like you two. I am the MCU, the original MCU shill. Okay, I was there day one. I was a true believer. Okay, 2008 Iron Man. I was in there. I told you, I saw all of them. I really did. I think I maybe on theaters, but I did see all of them meeting up. I know I definitely saw Iron Man, Captain America, First Avenger. I think Thor. I don't know if I saw Iron Man 2 in theaters, but I saw all of all the lead up films before Avengers, and I was a big fan of like all of them, especially Captain America, First Avenger, and I really resonated with. I was a huge, and I think I still am. I'm still a big Captain America fan, and watching them all come together on screen for the Avengers was like a special event for me. Right? It was like getting like that Endgame feeling, you know,
the portals,
like all those years ago. And I would say even now it still holds up very well. There's a sort of weight to everything. You know, the characters feel real-ish, you know, in their way. And I think the humor is pretty good. You know, I know we make fun of Marvel dialogue now and like Whedon humor, but it worked. Yeah, it did. It definitely did. It was in the right amount for the material. And I would say its weakest moment is probably like the second act. I think the second act is kind of when, you know, when you get to their like dramatic low point, it's all kind of but it rises up very well. And that third act is still amazing. And it does a lot without doing too much, right? You get just the right amount of aliens, right? Just the threat is perfect, especially for a small team. It is like a save the world kind of thing, but it's contained to a nice area. And while it did start off a lot of the tropes that were later hated, you can't hate it for being the first one, right? It's not his fault that everyone copied it after. And yeah, I would say it's still good. It's still good. I know it's a very film bro take to say, oh, Avengers, this movie stinks, the Marvel is bad, blah blah blah. But it's not. I can't, you know, and I've grown much more cynical on Marvel since those days. But it's still a good movie. It's still a really engaged, especially I would say the first like 40 minutes and the last 40 minutes are really great, right? The first 40 minutes really draw you in very well into the world. The last 40 minutes, it makes everything work. And this movie does a very good job, which I think separates it from a lot of other cinematic universe movies, in catching you up to the world and engaging you in it and having a nice adventure that a audience can understand. So many other movies that try to do this failed, right? And you don't have to see any of the other movies to make Avengers 1 works, right? You don't have to do the quote unquote homework. It helps, but they do a really great job of being like, yep, this is Captain America, this is Iron Man, this is Thor, this is their deals, right? Also, here's a couple other characters that haven't been in movies. Here's their deals, and it's very, very, very quick. Catches you up. You understand everything about them, right? You get a nice cast. They play off each other very well, and when they all come together at the end, it is something special. And you understand why it was so popular and why it kickstarted this huge movement. It just makes sense. The ramifications of that are less than spectacular. But I would say, as on its own, no, Avengers is a really solid movie. You know, it may not be the best MCU movie or the best superhero movie, but it's a foundational kind of text for like culture going forward, and it works. It shouldn't. It really shouldn't, but it does. And it, there's a reason why I think it changed, like kind of like movies, expectations for movies, forever. But in order, yeah.
No, I was gonna say, like, I agree. Like, it's like we give a lot of credence, I think that's the word, to Marvel now with how they do their projects and how the current movies are very much like, man, did you watch so and so these projects to get to see what this new movie's about or whatever? But back then, this was really like a special. This really was a special, even though I saw it like after the theaters. I can only imagine like seeing it in the theaters where all the heroes are like.
Bro, it was electric. It was electric, man. I was like, when I tell you, when I got home from the theaters, I was like running around my room. Yeah, no, it was something special, and also I would say it was a big hit for normal people too, like your average movie going audience. I'd say my parents, right? Your average moviegoers also were like, yeah, that was great. They did not feel like they had to have like read the comics or done all this lore or watch all these movies, and they still had a great time. So I think it really worked. But in order to do a more, I guess, deeper dive into Avengers, we will do a quick synopsis, a swift summary, if you will. And the person handling that today will be Supa O. So, give us a quick breakdown on the Avengers.
Break it down for us.
All right, let me see what I could do. So, Avengers. Our movie starts with S.H.I.E.L.D. investigating the Tesseract. Tesseract.
I got nipped that in the bud right there.
And it was a good run.
It was a good run. It was good.
Wait, haven't you pronounced it first? Was it Tesseract?
No, I'm saying. He said Tesseract.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I cannot let him just say Tesseract for the next like 5 minutes.
I even spun it right here. I don't know why my brain like but yeah, so S.H.I.E.L.D. is busy studying this extraterrestrial cube that seems to hold some mysterious power within it. And the reason they're doing this is they need to harness the power within it to create weapons that can fend off otherworldly threats. Otherworldly threats, you may ask? Like what? Threats like the Asgardian threat that has just descended down to Earth. You see, amidst the experimentation, the cube starts tweaking out and then opens a portal. And out of that portal, who else arrives but none other than Loki, the god of mischief. In
Loki
the village.
from Thor 1?
No, Loki. Wow. No, Loki from God of War. Now available in the PS. But yes, it is Loki from Thor 1. And using his abilities and powers that far exceed that of a regular person, he was able to grab the Tesseract and he planned on using his power to summon a Chitauri army to help him rule and conquer the world. Upon losing the Tesseract, Nick Fury realizes he has one plan left. he has to activate the Avengers Initiative. The Avengers Initiative. This is a team assembled of all of Earth's mightiest heroes, or in this case, a couple of weirder than normal humans that they could find at the time. Joining the team, we have the genius billionaire playboy philanthropist, Tony Stark, the Iron Man, the Star-Spangled Boy Scout, Steve Rogers, Captain America.
Yes, sir.
Enjoy him while you still can. Bruce Banner, the Incredible Hulk.
We gotta talk about this. We have to talk about this. We gotta talk about this, bro. The
fall off.
The fall off is crazy.
The fall
off is crazy. I get it now. I do get the people that are like, yeah, Hulk is like, he's such a bum now.
Yeah.
He's so lame.
And what annoys me is like originally when they did the Professor Hulk, I was for like maybe the first like movie, I'm like, sure, okay. Banner got control of the Hulk power. That's cool. But surely like we're gonna get like the other Hulk, or even like something cool with the Hulk, right? But like he's just there. He's just a big green guy who's just there.
It's just Mark Ruffalo in mocap suit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, bro, this isn't the Hulk. And it's annoying because we like barely got the Hulk content like that. I mean, I wouldn't say barely, but like we don't have enough of it to like just completely lose that side of him. You know what I mean?
And he's not a threat anymore.
Yeah,
he really isn't. He's just a guy. He's just a big guy. And I would say, especially if we go to the comics, Bruce Banner has like mental illness, and he usually DID, and he has different personalities and stuff. This Hulk don't got. I mean, I could see maybe Avengers 1 Hulk, right, having something developing down this darker path, but like nowadays, no, that guy's mentally fine.
Honestly, at this point,
he was just
if they ever try to do an Immortal Hulk run of Mark Ruffalo, I would not buy it for like a second. He does not have that dog in him.
You have to retcon so much stuff.
You have to retcon so much stuff for that to work, because he's just a dude now, and I'm not saying he can't have character development,
right?
I'm not saying he has to be like always like stupid Hulk, blah, 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 but you can still make him an engaging character, and you can make the Hulk an engaging character, right? You can make a Hulk that's relatively more intelligent, but still is maybe violent or darker. I think they're kind of working with that for Thor Ragnarok. But he got some of that now. He has no sauce anymore.
Yeah, they.
Your coat is washed.
My boy. My coat's washed.
That last bit of She-Hulk where you saw
his son,
Hulk's terrible CG son.
It is never showing up ever again.
Fall off, bro. If you compare Scar from the Planet Hulk comics and whatever this guy is going on, I can't.
Yeah, they did Hulk so wrong, man. R.I.P. my goat. But going further down the list, there's also the mightiest Avenger, Thor, an agent you'd send to take out your best agent, Natasha Romanoff, aka my wife. I mean, Black Widow. And Hawkeye's there too. Now, at first,
hey, Hawkeye's goated. Okay, Hawkeye is goated, bro. Hawkeye puts in work the entire movie.
The entire movie's kind of stretching it.
They work in on both the villain side and the hero side.
He's alright. He's alright, I guess.
Wow, I cannot believe there's still Hawkeye haters out here.
He got one cool moment against Loki, and that's about it for me. But Hawkeye's cool. Hawkeye is cool, like a really nice guy. A little Hawkeye reference, show reference. But yeah, not first, all these heroes sort of clash against each other's. You know what I mean? They all have their different ideals and personalities and experiences. But, at the end of the day, these 6 heroes put their differences aside to band together to put a stop to Loki's plan. And it's a really well-fought battle between the Avengers and Loki's army, as each Avenger is giving it their all. Loki actually beginning to realize that he may have bitten off more than he could chew. However, the government didn't see it like that. So to prevent the Chitauri alien invasion from developing globally, they decided to send a nuke to slime New York off the face of the map.
That's also insane.
Which, honestly, probably would have done that anyway, regardless of the invasion. But as it seems like it's gonna be all over for the city, someone grabs the missile, redirecting it upwards, and that person was none other than the GOAT Iron Man. Putting his life on the line, he guides the missile up towards the sky, off the side of the Stark building, through the portal in the sky, and directly to the Chitauri mothership, destroying it and shutting down every Chitauri alien in the city. The Avengers have done it. They've won. Loki then gets arrested. Thor proceeds to take him back to Asgard along with the Tesseract. A grateful New York and world are thankful for what the heroes are done. And our movie comes to a close as our heroes go their separate ways. But they aren't going to be apart forever. For you see, when the world needs a bit more help, rest assured, Earth's mightiest heroes will be there. And that is the Avengers.
And everyone clapped.
Everyone clapped. I would say shout out to the thousands, the hundreds to thousands of Middle Eastern unks running shawarma spots.
Thriving
after the Avengers win. Because they could not have expected that. They could not have expected that. And then
Suddenly, everybody goes to a shawarma.
Everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm going to get shawarma's pretty good. Shawarma's pretty good. But yeah, so we will now, I think, get into our review, the proper review. Now, the summer's out the way, where we talk about the Avengers, and we review films of a 5-point scale, right? Where each point you can get out of 5, and we rate films based off their visuals, their writing and dialogue, their characters, the X factor, what makes them particularly unique, and last but not least, hype moments and aura. So before we get into our full review, right, I want to, I think explain the title of this episode in full, right, and explain why is Avengers the most important film of the 21st century. And I believe it is. I think you can see there's an inflection point where you have movies that came out before the Avengers and the movies that came out after the Avengers. And there's a very clear, I think, distinct moment when Marvel films popped off and suddenly it shifted the entire studio landscape, right? And not just big studio movies, right? But I would say both movies, big and small, the waves out from this film changed so much. And I would say I think it's easily the most relevant film of this 21st century. Not because it's the best, but of its importance. And the first thing I'd like to talk about the first thing I'd like to bring up is how the Avengers ushered in the age of the cinematic universe. And there's many cinematic universes that have come, that have gone. Many studios have sent out so many films to die in an effort to chase Avengers money.
Yeah.
Right? And you may say, well, didn't the Avengers cinematic universe begin with Iron Man? Yes, this is true. But without Avengers, right? Without Avengers working, Iron Man would just be a decent superhero movie. And we've had superhero movies, right? For decades. But it was Avengers being so successful, right? And being so popular changed what a superhero movie was. like kind of permanently. The only exception to this that I can think of is like the Nolan movies. They kind of did their own thing. And that's only because like you had Christopher Nolan at the helm, and as soon as he was done with his trilogy, DC immediately got to work on trying to make their own version of the Avengers, the Justice League, and
we know how that went.
Yeah, not great, not ideal. And so you had this kind of thing where it created a gold rush for the cinematic universe. And I think the cinematic universe is different than a franchise. And I think before the Avengers, we had franchises, right? Like Pirates of the Caribbean, Harry Potter. It's Fast and Furious is on both sides of this.
Bond.
Long-running series, James Bond, right, for example. It's not a right franchise. Long-running series. It didn't have to be super connected. You just make them, right? And they had the same actors and the same thing, and you just make sequels. Maybe you make a spinoff, and like that was that. But the Avengers changed things. That instead of having like just sequels and franchises, it became, well, what if you just took what if you made a bunch of separate movies, and then that all led up to a big movie like the Avengers, and you started to get all these different movies that are trying to chase that, pie, like the Dark Universe, rest in peace. One and done with the Mummy. And the Mummy is one of the most clear and pathetic attempts to artificially start a cinematic universe, right? And you have big name actors. You have Russell Crowe, you have Tom Cruise, right? In a super high budget movie. And you got these guys. You have Russell Crowe, right? Running around like a little office room, screaming and hollering as he's trying to name drop stuff to be like, oh, you don't understand, it's all about perfidium. There's gonna be monsters. You don't know. There's gonna be a bunch of monsters, and perhaps they'll all team up in some sort of league. And it was very, very bad. Right.
They'll be the ones to protect this dark universe.
You had, and I would say like even you think of the Mummy, right? The Mummy is trying to be a cinematic universe. There was a superhero-esque movie with a bunch of movie monsters. It had already come out. It was a full team-up movie. It was called League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh yeah,
right. We did that in the 2000s. That's what it would have looked like before the Avengers, right? Was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. But nowadays, you could not make League of Extraordinary Gentlemen because you would have to make like all the movies about the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen characters. Again, I would say even nowadays, you wouldn't make a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen movie. You'd make a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen TV show. That has 8 episodes and comes out every 5 years.
Yeah.
They're all 2 hours long.
Yeah. So
everyone needs their movie.
Yeah. So you had this kind of thing where it's like, okay, so everyone's trying to chase the cinematic universe. So just like off the top of my head, I'm talking about all the cinematic universes we've had, like since Avengers, right? We've had the DCEU, right? And now you have the DCU. We've had the Monsterverse. We've had the Dark Universe. We have had the one and done Valiant attempt to a universe with was it
Bloodshot.
Oh, Bloodsport. Oh, no, you're right.
Yeah, that Vin Diesel movie, right? Yeah. We've had an attempt. We've had different countries attempt their own cinematic universes.
Gundala.
Yes, the Gundala, the Bumogint Indonesian superhero cinematic universe with like Gundala and Sriash, which I think is pretty much that in order now. We have the Rohit cop universe with such greats as Singham and Simba and there's like a third one, right? Of a bunch of Indian films about cops that clearly and flagrantly break the law all the time. we've it's all out of this has the same kind of like format. Let's go, they're all interconnected, right? So we've all these like we've had of course the Fox X-Men, right? Pivoted from a franchise, and in their last gasp, they may try to make a pivot into like a cinematic universe. You have the Spider-Man, the Sony Spider-Man spin-off universe, right?
They did attempt it twice with Andrew Garfield and then the spin-off.
Yes, the Andrew Garfield movies, right? And those didn't pan out. And then you had such hits as Venom, Let There Be Carnage, Venom: The Last Dance, Morbius, Kraven the Hunter, Madam Web,
the GOAT,
right? As they tried to make a cinematic universe of tertiary Spider-Man characters. And that has,
even though they were allowed to use Spider-Man.
So that happened, right? And died. And like so many actors, so much money, so much resources have been poured, because the second thing I think the Avengers created, with the way the blockbuster hit. And I think this is also just blockbusters in general. I think Avengers is very emblematic of this. Is besides the cinematic universe, right? It created what I like to call the roulette table mentality that studios began to have after the Avengers. And when I say roulette table mentality, is maybe instead of like doing like good investments here and here, making a bunch of mid-budget movies, investing in different places, studios are like, nah, I'm betting it all in black. And basically you have studios gambling with films that cost $200 to $300 million. Because if it hits, right, wow, we have another Avengers, right? We're all rich. But if it doesn't hit, well, dag nabbit, I guess we just threw out $300 million on nothing. So, every year we just have these insanely budgeted blockbusters that come out. Most of them attached to some kind of cinematic universe, some sort of attempt at something. And so many of them fail. So many good actors get caught up in movies that bomb. And you can, I think, contribute that to the Avengers. I would also say the third thing that the Avengers kind of like caused inadvertently was it contributed, I think, what I would call the death of the movie star. The Avengers made characters popular, but it didn't have like a knock-on effect for actors, right?
All right.
So Robert Downey Jr. became Iron Man guy, right? Chris Evans was Captain America. Chris Hemsworth was Thor, right? And so on. And it became a situation where you could have actors that were in these blockbuster roles as these characters go to make another film that just bombs. Regardless of like quality, just bombs. Because people don't want to see Chris Evans. They want to see Captain America.
Yeah.
Right? People don't want to see Robert Downey Jr. They want to see Iron Man. And it wasn't like that before. It was not like that before. The Rock was able to market himself as a person, usually. I think he's like one of the and even then I think The Rock's appeal is like waning off. But you used to like you'd watch a Tom Cruise movie. You weren't going to the movie because Maverick from Top Gun is going to be in it. You watch it because it's a Tom Cruise movie, right? And you could sell it on Tom Cruise, not the character that he was playing. But now it's just like, and now you're in a situation where all these people who are in their 40s and 50s are going to have to like throw back on the costumes for Secret Wars and Doomsday to shuffle around, for that, get that check. That's very sad. But and also I would say the fourth thing I think Avengers affected is I would say just how people interacted with films. It created a massive fan base. And again, you already the fan base from Marvel Comics, but I think he created a very distinct MCU fan. And Beto, I think you can speak on this. The difference between a MCU fan and a Marvel Comics fan.
Yeah, I was going to also point this out, that if your favorite character is Iron Man, you're a fake fan. You're an MCU fan.
Yeah. Because that was your chest.
Because I feel like there was one person who was popular, and he was like saying Iron Man is my favorite character, and I'm like, you can't really. You just like him because he was in the movies. It's because of Robert Downey Jr.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of these movies. It was not because you read the comics. If you did, you would just be like, yeah, it's Iron Man.
Because if you knew anything about comics, I'm really sorry to interrupt here, right?
Yeah.
If you were the 2000s, it was the big three, okay?
Right.
Everyone knows who the big three is. Spider-Man, Wolverine, and the Hulk. All right? They ran the 2000s, bro. They ran the 2000s. If you read comics, if you were in the comics, you knew it was Spider-Man, Wolverine, and the Hulk, right?
Absolutely.
Spider-Man, no, nobody cares, right? Thor, nobody cares.
Captain America, nobody cares.
And people barely care, right? Black Widow, get out of here, right? Nobody.
Hawkeye?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you did not know any of these characters, if you knew these characters, you'd be like, fine, whatever. I read the comics. But if you're like praising, putting up posters and all that, I'm like, I can't take you seriously that much.
Unless you were running, like, I mean, maybe if you were reading like the 2000s Ultimates run, or like the 2000s, like I think Avengers or New Avengers, like that came out 2005, 2006. Maybe, like, you could be into that, but that would require a deeper level of fandom.
Yeah, it just became like this crazy fandom, like where everybody's like, "Oh, these characters are so great, they're so amazing," and it's just like, "Yeah, they're great. Have you read the comics?" It's like from movie to comics, it's not a one-to-one accurate adaptation. Like even Shang-Chi. It's not a one-to-one actual character, but I digress. Yeah, it's adaptations coming, or we can talk about how adaptations work, but
yeah,
just like how everyone just were up in arms and just waning and crying and just feeling like, oh, you made fun of my characters. Like, no, it's because I read the comics. I actually know what these characters are. And these movies are just are so different. They're far off.
And I would say for MCU fan, especially when I mean MCU fan, I mean the kind of person that goes to Comic-Con, Hall H, and sees a PowerPoint picture and then pops off and screams and cries, about how epic it's going to be. That's a very particular person that I don't think existed.
If you were cheering when they announced who was playing Dr. Doom, yeah, you are officially an MCU fan. You are no, it's a no.
That companies can literally walk out and then just have like a timeline of potential movies and everyone pops off is an insane development. It was not like this before. It was, I'm telling you, it was not like this.
Teenagers, kids, you do not, the movies don't act, they're not like that. You can't just say, hey, the due date is in 2 years. You can't say that for any movie, any project, video games, comic books, or anything like that. That is not the norm. That is totally not the norm.
And so, yeah, I would say creating MC fan. And the fifth point, right? I mean, last point, I would say. And the biggest thing, I would say, that reverberates throughout movies, even to this day. Okay? It does not matter if it's a Marvel film. It does not matter if it's a superhero film, right? Is Marvel dialogue. It's everywhere, folks. It's spread like a contagion. to the Avengers.
Well, that just
And
happened.
the Whedon dialogue infection is insane. And I think it became a point where I'd say every action movie, practically every big budget action movie after the Avengers, right? All the characters became these kind of like sarcastic, quippy, like, we're in danger? Huh, wow. Kind of thing. I'm not saying Whedon dialogue can't work. I'm not saying like it's even bad. I think in some circumstances it can work, depending on the setting. But
not every character is a comedian.
Yes, and that like he's behind me, isn't he? Thing started didn't start with the Avengers, but because of the Avengers' popularity, it made other movies like that, and I think we still see the remnants of that, even in films that came out like to this day.
One thing is like I feel like that kind of language was even in Age of Ultron, where it just felt like it was trying to like copy that. But also in the first Avengers, it felt tame.
It did feel tame. It was definitely contained.
I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel forced. It just feels like, awkwardness with sincerity. And like Captain America is just like he's all straight edge and very soldier. And then everyone else is just like, like Coulson, he's just like, he's awkward to Captain America because he's a fan. So there's an obvious awkwardness. So the quip just like flows it right in. It just goes in just nicely. But now it's just like, I guess Captain America will probably be like quipping every like 5 minutes.
Yeah, they definitely were a lot better with that in the earlier MCU movies. I feel in general, like I'd be looking back at some old ones, and it's like a real like, yeah, they have their jokes, they have their quips, but it never like takes away. It's never feels like it's the focal point of the said movies or said scenes. You know what I mean? Whereas like now it's just straight up who can have the funniest scene in the room.
Yes.
And
who can take a serious scene and then immediately ruin it with like a joke.
Yeah.
All right.
And I kind of do miss how they used to do it compared to now, because now it's like that's why so many of the stakes in like these newer films feel so like watered down. Like for instance, in like Love and Thunder, where there's like a literal god butcher on the loose, but everyone has to.
Everyone's doing your stand-up bits. Yeah.
Guys screaming goats and all of that, and it's just what are we?
Yeah, because I would say if you don't care about it, person in the movie, why should I care?
Yeah.
you clearly don't care. You're clearly nonplussed about this situation, and so like why should I care? And I would say there's a transition point. I'd say because I think action movies did have jokes before. They did. Yeah. We went from, I would say, the one-liner to the quip. Because we used to have one-liners. And one-liners are different. Because one-liners would come after an action scene, right? After all the stuff went down, right? The tough hero man would be like, bah, bah, bah. Like, when, in Commando, when Arnold Schwarzenegger impales that guy with the steel pipe and says, "Bullet, let off some steam." Classic. We love it. Whenever Bruce Willis says like his yippee-ki-yay, they're iconic for a reason, because they're perfectly timed to come like a beat after a thing, to almost have a kind of like a release after, to punctuate like an action scene. And it'd be very different if during the action scene, Arnold Schwarzenegger is trying to like quip the entire time. Very, very different vibe. Very different vibe.
He's about to fight off the liquid metal Terminator in the second movie, and in the middle of the fight, he was like, "Well, that's something you don't see every day."
Yeah, or doing like, my programming. This was in my programming. Yeah, that would be awful. That would be terrible, and I'm glad that didn't happen. So this is my thesis on like what I think. Avengers changed kind of everything. In the ripples and shockwaves of that movie still affect us to this day, and for that reason, I think it has more relevance to the cult as a cultural, item than I would say any other movie in the 21st century. There's a ton of great movies. There's huge movies. There's movies that had a big impact. Avengers isn't even the highest grossing movie of the 21st century, but I would say it's the most impactful because you can't get Endgame without Avengers. You can't get everything else we have. You don't get Disney Plus. You don't get you don't get all the Star Wars shows that we have now without the Avengers. You don't get Mandalorian and Grogu without the Avengers, paving the way for a cinematic universe and all these spin-offs. So, thank you to Avengers for opening the portal to hell that we all live in.
The Pandora's box.
Yeah. They really were messing with powers that they did not understand. And we have to suffer the consequences.
To this day.
But back to our main portion of our review. Let's we rate it on the visuals, the first category. How do you think the Avengers looks?
To this day, I think it still looks fine.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It doesn't feel like I don't know, like visual effects are just like bad. Visually appealing. I would say that it's, I don't know if putting this here, but it felt like they really filmed it on set. And just how, and I'm talking like I've been through war, even though I've just been watching movies for the past decades. So it just feels really comforting to know that it's filmed on set, and the design of all the helicarrier, just the Avengers Tower, basically anywhere they go, it feels real, and the fight scenes, they do look real as well. Some things, I think, like some of the Chitauri stuff, you can tell it's obviously CGI, but we're not here to nitpick everything. But I would just say it's really nice to see it, and it doesn't age itself. It doesn't look like it's aged, and it looks comfortably as what the product is, and how crazy how everything it didn't lose its beat. And I would just give it like a 4.5.
I think it looks better than some of the superhero films we've got in the last couple of years.
It does.
If I'm being frank,
really does.
It does.
Yeah.
Not all of them, of course.
Well,
but there are some. There's definitely some of them. Like I would say, probably it looks better than like Shang-Chi.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
In other films like that, and I would say I think for me the Chitauri hold up because they're solid designs, and you could tell they had a vision, and they stuck with the vision, and then they made the thing and took their time with it, which I think is where a lot of the films suffer. I mean, I'd say one of the biggest blunders we've had in the last couple of years is Quantumania.
Yeah.
Like it looks really rough in spots, and that's because they're changing. They're trying to change things, day and date, basically before the movie comes out. But I would say I think visually it looks pretty good. Now, in terms of I would say really advanced cinematography or some really spectacular, shots or artistic direction. I would say it looks good, but it doesn't have that extra oomph to carry it to a 5 for me. When I think of 5s, I think of Spider-Verse or Nasia or in terms of live action, well, we haven't done this review yet, but I would say just going off of memory, Avatar or Dune, right? For me, those are like fives visually. Where this is like really solid, but it doesn't have that illusion. So for me, it's like a 4. But it's still, I think it still holds it very well, and especially when you factor in when it was made and you compare it. And I think there's one shot in particular I want to highlight. That's like the one, like, I know technically it wouldn't be a tracking shot because it's on CG, but that one like continuous shot in New York where they're battling.
Mhm.
And it goes from, I think, Iron Man flying in the sky, fighting, to like he flies by Hawkeye. Then he goes on the ground a little bit and fights with Captain America and like this bouncing laser off the shield. And then they go up a little bit to like Thor. And you kind of have that visual of the entire battlefield in this like one continuous shot. I think that's really good. I think that's one of the best shots in the movie for sure. And the super iconic like spinning shot where they're all in the circle
and they all
is
assemble.
really great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you. I honestly echo a lot of the same sentiments you guys have. But similar thing. I think this movie looks really good. Still great for its time. But there's just not enough there for me to say it's a 5. And low key, I was thinking about taking off a couple points for the Chitauri designs, but like looking at them again, I'm like, no, they're pretty good. Because originally I was gonna be like, it's granted this is like before the gray CGI monster trope
Apocalypse.
kind of became a thing. Yeah.
We can also thank Avengers for this. Shout out to the Avengers for giving Luke Army and also sky beams. Folks, we love sky beams here.
The ripple effect.
Giant lasers to the sky that we have to shut down.
But now the Chitauri do look cool. Like there's like a couple cool close-up shots, especially with one of the Chitauri like taking off his mask and you actually see like his face. I think little details like that, even though like from afar they don't seem like much, I think from up close they do look really nice. And also everyone's costumes or character designs are on point. Except for Captain America.
I disagree. I think some of the costumes are kind of yeah. They're a mix of that trying to be realistic and then also trying to be comic booky. I don't like how Thor looks in this movie. I don't like how Captain America looks especially, and I think kind of national, kind of goofy. I like and Thor. Not like in a good way.
Yeah, Captain America for me though was one that was off, especially with it like when his mask was on. I think if without it, his suit would have looked a bit, or he would have looked a bit better. Yeah, but like I don't know, it just looked he looked off. It looked like a guy.
I mean, I would say the costume's not the worst thing that happened to Captain America in this movie.
Try to think of what you.
We'll talk about it when we get to the high moments and aura.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, overall, I'm low-key stuck between a 4 and a 4.5. Probably gonna give it a. I think I'll give it a 4.5. I'll give it a 4.5.
All right, so we move on to your next category: writing and dialogue.
Oh, Beto, did you give your score?
Yeah, you started off 4.5, right?
Oh, okay.
I changed it to a 4.
A 4? Okay.
Yeah.
Writing and dialogue, which I think this is. I think it's a stronger element. So it's definitely a stronger element. I think it's just a pretty good written film, and you can really feel it in the way the characters speak to each other, as you brought up before. How all the characters bounce off each other very well, and this is the best example of written dialogue that I think we've had, and it works. It's subdued enough. There's only a couple. There's only like maybe like one or two lines where I'm like, really, with the thing. But I would say overall, everyone's kind of acting like how you expect them to act in the situation.
Yeah, and also there's like a dialogue. We're all writing dialogue, right? And not characters. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Yeah, and also like just dialogue wise, there's a lot of good quotables in this film. Like, there's a lot of good, like, just everyone has sauce. Well, or a lot of sauce in this film. Like, especially when Loki is spinning, bro. Like, there was a line he said to, I want to say it was like to Black Widow, and I wrote it down here. Where he says to her, you you lie and kill in the service of liars and killers. I'm like, oh, oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
Like they're cooking with everyone's dialogue, bro.
Remember when Loki was evil? Remember that?
Yeah,
Remember when he was a trickster?
remember when when he was bulletproof? And
That's true. Yeah, he used to be bulletproof.
Yeah, the fall off kind of has to be studied. But you know, Loki's motives in this movie as a villain was also pretty good. Even though it's just like get the MacGuffin, you know, and my plans will unleash. I think it's a really solid, and it really pushes the movie forward. And you could see Loki. I get more into it. Actually, no, I'll get more into it when we talk about his character. But like, I just love how Loki is in this film. It's just like, because he's just this god, and he just comes down. And he's just like, I'm a god, and I this should be easy. I go in, get a tesseract, do control, and then he soon finds out that it's not that easy.
Yeah, it's not free. It's
but yeah, no, the dialogue in this movie is really good. Writing per se, no, the writing, the plot. I think the plot's good. I just don't think it's anything superb, personally.
Yeah, and I would say the way some of the scenes are written in order to move the plot along are questionable, right?
Yeah.
Why is our boy Captain America getting pinned down by one guy with a gun? What's happening there? You know?
On the Hellcarrier?
Yeah. What's going on there? There's a couple of clunky things, right? I think especially when I think the scene when they're trying to like have like the characters have like distrust with each other, and you have like Captain America like break into the shield thing and be like, "Why are you making weapons, Nick Fury?" It's just kind of like it's a real like you can't conceive of this. Like this is an impossible like concept for you. The idea that you'd make a bigger weapon, that's just makes no sense. And then you have some other bits. I think especially when like you have your all hope is lost, you know, kind of situation, and everyone's in their ways, where it just feels. I think some of the writing around it is a little clunky. I would say the writing is a little clunky around Act 2 to move things along, but it comes together really nicely in Act 3. But I think Act 2 is where it's the most kind of like the pieces are kind of shoved into place to make it work. And even though we got there, I think it still is like a little off.
Yeah. But it's still, you know, it's still really good. I still enjoy the movie. I can still follow the plot, and I still enjoy it. But it's like, it's just a bit. It's not like we've had more solid plot lines even in the MCU going forward.
But I gotta say, I gotta applaud Whedon on this effort, though. It does a very good job of catching you up.
Yes. Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
For 4 movies, right? Technically got filmed as a sequel to, I think, no, it's 3 movies. No, it's 3 or 4. It's 4. Yeah, because I remember 2. For a film that's trying to catch you up, that's a sequel to 4 movies, it does a very good job of catching you. I think there's some very slick ways it does exposition without it being heavy-handed. Like, I would say, like when Captain America is in the gym and like, he's hitting the punching bag, and you get the entire Captain America plot line in 30 seconds. It's perfect, right? Like, you know, it doesn't go too in depth. It's not too heavy handed, but you get everything you need to know about Steve Rogers in those 30 seconds. Even if you did not see the movie, First Avenger, you're good, right? I think it takes the idea that you probably already seen Iron Man 1, because that's like the more popular one. But you kind of get everything you need to know with like Tony. Like they just drop lines and reference the other films, like when Tony's talking to Bruce, and he's talking about the arc reactor keeps the shrapnel away from his heart, right? It works. It's a very good way of explaining that plot element without being like heavy-handed, right? Whenever they reference something, it feels like natural dialogue. They explain Thor pretty well. They even, make you feel like, oh, these characters already know each other, and you get a relationship idea of who Phil Coulson is and Black Widow are, even though those are like side characters, in different of the previous movies. And Black Widow was introduced in what?
Iron Man.
Iron Man 2?
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like, oh, if I didn't see that, I'll be lost. And that's pretty good. I think that's a very nice way that was all weaved together. And I would say, maybe one of the things the other films suffer from in the future, especially when you're trying to weave together not just 3 movies, but like, 10 movies, or like a ever-increasing number of characters, especially in the future when you have some of these characters coming from TV shows. It's tough.
I mean,
it's tough.
Yeah, but if they keep that same, like, give a quick summary in the plot and just the writing, I think we'll have to do another rewatch of the Marvels to see if they did that right.
Oh, I would need to do a watch of the Marvels.
That one is an A-okay time.
I bet. I'll take your word for it.
Heavy on the okay.
I would, I think especially going forward, like, just to bring up, like, when Spider-Man, was it Brand New Day? Is what it's called?
The new one?
When it's coming out, or no?
The one that's coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Brand New Day.
Brand New Day.
Shout out to them. And I'm sure I'll understand it because I'm pretty tapped in. But they are going to make a new Spider-Man movie that's supposed to have, right now, it's supposed to have Tombstone, Scorpion, the Hulk, Punisher, Black Widow, Yelena's Black Widow, and I believe like a couple other characters, like, all running around. And I'm not saying this is an impossible task. All right, I'm not saying this is like, some Herculean effort, but you gotta put in the work to catch everyone up on all this stuff, especially considering how one of those characters that's going to be key came from a Netflix TV show. So,
the Punisher?
Yes.
I think the Punisher is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. Punisher, plus they kind of like, they put Punisher in the Daredevil, so.
Well, yeah, and they said he's going to have a new special coming out, I think this year or next year, that the person said is going to be integral to understanding who he is in Brand New Day. So, yeah.
That's for the fans. For the general audience, they can just buy a ticket, plop down on their seats, eat their popcorn, and wonder, hey, why is that guy with the skull doing here? And then they see him shoot like a bunch of random cops. Oh, okay. It's the only introduction they'll get.
Oh, you know what? It's probably Professor Hulk they're putting in.
And I wonder, is like, what are they going to do? Like, if thinking about the future of the MCU and how it's going to be written, how are they going to pull these TV show people? Like, it's my biggest question going into, like, Doomsday and thing. Is you're going to have to be like, yo, is that Wiccan from Agatha? And
just never explain it. That's it. Never explain it.
You have to explain. Well, you have to do some explaining where it's like, yeah. So remember how in Doctor Strange, what was it? What was it? Multiverse of Madness. Remember when Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, Scarlet Witch was trying to bring back her. Actually, no. We have to go back one more step. Remember how in WandaVision, Scarlet Witch had the two kids and they weren't real? Yeah, and then in a different movie, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, she went on a killing spree and was like this huge chaos witch. And now there was a different TV show where I'm here because Agatha, who is a character on WandaVision and got her own spin-off TV show, did a bunch of adventures. And I am Scarlet Witch's
son.
Son. And I'm here. And, that's going to be very interesting, is all I'm saying. And
they probably just, as soon as you put this on the internet, they're going to take this down and put it on the script. And they'll be like, this is how we're just going to explain who this character is.
I mean, they might lampshade it. I think that's one way you can do it, where, the character and be like, yes, I am the daughter. I'm not that daughter, sorry. I'm the son of Scarlet Witch. No, not that one. No, I'm not from the other. I'm not the kid from the other universe. No, I'm from the six whatever universe. But I was created and then brought back to life, and Agatha was there. Yes, that the lady that was in, So that's gonna be delightful.
Doomsday is gonna be interesting for sure. But who knows? Maybe
one of the most interesting movies.
I can only hope that it works. You know what I mean? But Marvel.
Oh, I don't.
Cameos do not make the movie.
I know this is maybe this is my most pessimistic. What's the word I'm looking for? Because it's not pessimism actually. This is I would say a dark desire. I want Doomsday to be terrible. Okay, it's time for it to end. Okay, I think it's time for the MCU to end. We can't keep doing this anymore. And I've heard things. I've heard reports. I've heard lots of reports of actors being like, I don't know what we're doing. There's no script. They just got us on green screen. Some behind the scenes drama that reportedly Ryan Reynolds and Robert Downey Jr. got into a fight on set. And I want that film to be a mess. I want it to be inconceivable and incoherent mess that just finally puts an end to this. Releases us from our suffering.
It could and it would. As much as I wish it could end, I don't think it's going to end in any capacity.
I want it to make like $150 million first weekend, and then have like an 80% drop because everyone's like, "Damn, that sucked." That's my dream. Okay, that is my legitimate dream for Doomsday. Is all fans come out to see it, and then they're like, "No, that was bad. That was a bad time. It was just cameo fest. It didn't make any sense." They trotted out a bunch of 60-year-old people to be the X-Men.
Yeah.
Well, I did hear like this whole movie, these two, Doomsday and Secret Wars are going to be like this huge, quote unquote, reboot of the whole cinematic universe where every character is back in, but it's already too late. So,
because that's the only thing that can stop this train, I think, is an Avengers movie has to fail. An Avengers movie has yet to fail. And I think they can shrug off the Marvels failing. They could even shrug off like Quantumania or Love and Thunder having issues.
Right.
But
Avengers movie?
What was the last film that came? Fantastic Four did not do that well.
It didn't.
In comparison to other movies. Like it did much lower than like expectations.
$1 million in the box.
Which is crazy. Like that would have been unheard of during like, peak MCU run. The idea that Fantastic Four would only make that much money.
Right.
So it's time, it's time. I am like, I think that's my rule now. I am that villain character that's like, that's saying that this world must come to an end.
That one line at every trailer. This world has come to an end.
Yes, I want the shift to happen, so then we can say the other line in every trailer, where I can say, the world is changing. That's what we can say after Doomsday has failed. The world is changing.
And rise the DCU.
So, okay, so we're moving on to our third category. Actually, well, we can do the rating. So, what would you rate the writing and dialogue?
For me, it's a 4.5.
It's a 4 for me.
I'm going for 3.5. It's simple, but it's not Vivaldi, and it's not like the true novels of the olden day, like Shakespeare and Hamlet.
I think Shakespeare liked the Avengers.
He would. I think he would.
Shakespeare would be an Avengers fan.
I think Shakespeare would be an Avengers. Like, I know a lot of people hold up Shakespeare as like this, like, I mean, he is a complex author. I'm not saying he isn't, but as this like super complex writer, or whatever. But like, Shakespeare was meant to be enjoyed by the common people at the time,
right?
Like, Shakespeare was not like nothing that Shakespeare made was something that the people in his audience wouldn't understand.
Yeah, there would be some people.
Like they're all like, I guess like common, issues and tragedies with man.
Like,
the only thing you might be unclear on is the setting. I guess if you didn't know anything about like Rome, you might be a little confused by Julius Caesar. It's not like, I think he would. I think he would like the Marvel movies. That's my opinion. It's a meme if like, Shakespeare is live today, and one side's like he'd be a Democrat, like the other side's he'd be a Republican. It's like, actually, if Shakespeare was live today, I'm quite fond of the MCU.
Their opening day on every Marvel project.
I really like that one character, Black Panther. I really like that character.
Reminds me of Othello.
I really like that one.
So, moving on to the characters, which is, I think, another thing of the writing. I would say characters are probably the strongest thing in this movie, for sure.
Yeah, every character shine, even if they're limited.
It wouldn't work without them, right?
No, totally. They're great. They have a great chemistry between them, and we mentioned it before, but they bounce off each other like really well. And even Nick Fury, who's like the coordinator of all this, also is really well. Like like everyone just kind of has their own relationships with each other, but when it comes down to it, like they're willing to like bond and get past the differences to like take care of the problem at hand. And Loki himself is also like a great villain. Like, this is his peak, truly, as both like a threat in the universe, and I mean, people say he's really good in Loki, or character wise, he's pretty good in Loki. So maybe.
Well, that's quite literally a different character. Like literally, and story wise, they are different characters.
The Loki, Loki and the Loki in the first Avengers.
Yeah, they're different. They're different people. Like literally, because Loki died. That's a different. Loki.
Oh yeah, well.
Right, technically, yes, it is Loki for Avengers 1.
Yeah,
but still, that's a different.
It's the Loki version that went through a better character development.
Yeah.
He went through a different character development.
But no, I think they're all pretty solid. I don't really have like any complaints about the characters we have in front of me.
For me, it's a 5.
Oh yeah, I'd give it a 5 too.
Oh, I'll just give it a 4. Yeah, I mean, they're
Wow.
great, but I'm just like,
Contrarian.
I'm going to the comics, all right? In issue 539, Captain America did not.
Actually, no. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Comic book accuracy. Okay, comic book accuracy. As resident comic book enjoyer, Beto.
yes.
They also call you man of 1,000 comics.
Don't count on them. But trust me, there were 1,000.
How do you feel like the characters were portrayed in the movie versus the source material?
Well, I'm not too much of a fan of all of these characters regularly. But I would say they gave us special interest. Every actor did their best to give life to these characters to people who probably never read them, like me. And when I saw this movie, I was like, okay, maybe I should read these comics. Maybe I should go and read some of the comics. And I would say they got some things. They got some things right, from like Captain America to Iron Man to Thor. I haven't read too much of like any like Black Widow kind of miniseries. The only Hawkeye thing I got was the Matt Fraction run.
That's way after.
Yeah. And Nick Fury's for the MCU is the Ultimate Universe Nick Fury. So we're getting two different contrasts here. So comic accuracy, sure. They were doing something. But I would say the good thing about it, about their version, about the live action versions, was that they put so much emphasis and put so much light that it could get any people to like go to the comic book store and be like, hey, can I read a Thor comic or Iron Man, and just delve themselves into these characters.
Yeah. Actually, from my experience, I think they're fairly accurate. I would say they're pretty accurate. It's like it's their core character with some of the edges sanded off.
Oh yeah,
specifically in characters like Widow and Iron Man, a lot of their edges were sanded off, which I think works for them. I would say it definitely works for them.
There's a lot of alcoholism for Iron Man that couldn't be brought into the big screen because they wanted to get that young audience.
And I would say Hawkeye's probably a little more jokey in the comics, even at this time. Yeah. He's just a little more of a jokester. We'll never get full Hawkeye mask, and hey, what can you do?
I don't think it would work.
Big H? No. Maybe just we haven't dreamed enough.
No. We don't see that many mock-ups. I don't see any like fan edits.
And this guy's the one that ever they gave Wolverine his mask. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, people are not asking for the big H on the head. Nobody's really out there being like, yeah, man, we want comic accurate Hawkeye. I see way more people wanting like comic accurate Captain America with the scale mail, and I don't think the scale mail looks good in live action. I don't think so. I really don't.
I think they tried to do that in Captain America: The First Avenger.
I think his best suit is probably like Avengers 2.
Yeah.
And the Winter Soldier suit, I think, are the best ones. I would say, yeah. I mean, they got Captain America very right. They got him personality-wise. I mean, he is definitely... You can definitely see the evolution of Captain America, because this isn't just fresh out of the ice. And he's still very Boy Scout. That kind of evolves over time. Hulk's done pretty well. I think it's a very, very good Hulk. Very good Hulk. Very good theory. And I would say they're pretty comic accurate, especially if you're writing, like, what would be... This movie would be the equivalent of, like, a 5-issue Avengers story, right? Like, if you picked up Avengers #1 in a comic book store, right, this would be like a 5-issue story of, like, a new run. And I think that this works for that, It modernizes them without making them edgy. and without sanding off like who they are.
Right.
The biggest thing that the movies did, especially at the time, is it took away, I would say, all of the real all of the cool mystical stuff from that comes with Thor being a god. Kind of was not allowed at that time for the Avengers. So I don't know. He's just, Thor is hammer guy of electricity, and Loki has the shadow clone jutsu, and that's kind of it. It's crazy that they needed an entire, like, I guess, TV show to give Loki a little bit of his swag back and let him do things like create like full illusions and whatnot. Because he could just do that,
Yeah.
And like, I think Loki is the very first opponent the Avengers fight in the very first Avengers comic in the 60s, in Avengers #1. But in Avengers #1, I mean, when Loki fights him, he's just doing spells. He's just doing spells and taking their powers away. It's a very different battle. He doesn't need an army. He's a problem on his own. But
Yeah. Well, what I really like about, I think I mentioned it before, but yeah, I do really like Loki in this film, and how his whole thing is, I'm a god, so I should be able to just come here, take the Tesseract, no problem, and do whatever and rule the world. I mean, you guys are small fries. You guys ain't touching. And then it's just like, well, no. Iron Man puts it simply. He's just like, well, no, that's not. You didn't account for the fact that they have me. You didn't account for the fact that we have a Hulk. We have so many more, but
it turns out you're very touchable. Again.
Yeah. We don't.
You're extremely touchable
in these streets, bro. Like, even Hawkeye got a lick in, bro, with that little bomb arrow. So you ain't like that, bro. These streets never heard of you.
All right, so I would say our last category, not our last, our second last category, X Factor. What makes this film unique? I'm just going to come out and say it. This is a 5 in X Factor. And that's because it is a template. It is a blueprint. Now, while in retrospect, it's not seem unique because every other movie copied it. It's for its time very innovative. It's what did the cinematic universe team up movie, something that's so many people tried and was dashed against the rocks. It did I don't think it's the first Skybeam, but definitely popularized the Skybeam. One thing we haven't talked about, which I think is very unique to, this movie, it really stands out, was the theme, the Avengers theme.
That theme is so iconic, man. And rewatching it, I realized that they were playing like renditions of it throughout the movie, and not even like the big pivotal scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that
and like
cooking.
They don't really do and I say even today they struggle with having themes that are iconic.
Yeah.
It's a real struggle with movies these days, because it just don't hit the same. It just don't. It does not. I couldn't tell you what the Avatar theme was. I love those movies. I don't know, bro. It's like some.
I was just making noise.
I would have believed you. I can kind of just pick out some Snyder kind of films themes. I can pick them out, but I can't. They're not really hummable, right? Your big franchise. I would say they've tried in a few years to make themes that hit. I can pick out the Spider-Man theme for the most part. From the new Spider-Man movies, and the Fantastic Four theme.
Fantastic
Four. But half of that is because they say Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four.
That's them.
I think the most iconic to me right now is just the Batman.
Which one?
The Robert Pattinson.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I would say that one's pretty good. I would say the Dune is also, I think, at least the Wailing, is pretty good. I mean, Hans Zimmer, of course, is like a master at making these themes, and like Ludwig. Oh, and Black Panther. Is
African music in the background.
We're trying very hard to do these themes.
Also,
the theme is pretty good.
Something around there.
Yeah, it has like that trap kind of beat. But like, as you can see, having an iconic theme is hard work. Yeah. It's very hard work, and very few themes, even if they have good music, have iconic hummable beats.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's the I think one of the top ones too is like the Peak of Fiction theme song.
Shout out to Gadgets. I mean, that's why they've given up trying to make an X-Men theme, and we're just going that.
He's like, it broke. Why fix it?
Yeah, truly.
Yeah, don't bother.
I guess that's why they do it for like Superman. They just like, it's like, oh, let's just use John Williams and just like tweak it a little bit.
Yes,
I mean,
smart move.
I mean, they did. James Gunn did make his own Superman.
James Gunn did not make. James Gunn was not.
He was
He produced it.
He's much of the next guy, but James Gunn is not in the booth. So slow the mids. Everything.
I don't know, man. I on that credits list, and all I saw was James Gunn.
James Gunn.
So sometimes the glaze goes a little too far. Gets a little out of hand.
Let's not give the Snyder Cut fans too much ammo.
But getting the right kind of thing, I think is like very, very important. And the Avengers, it sucked. And when we finally get like newer versions, and we get to that Endgame version, the Portals.
Oh yeah, bro, the Portals version of that.
Yeah.
Fair. I think that was the first time I was like, oh, this is the Avengers theme song. when I heard it in Endgame, I was like, oh, okay, now it's stuck in my head.
And I think another X factor, I would say, uniqueness. I mean, of course, the other films did this, but probably the most consequential post-credit scene of all time. They introduced Thanos.
Yes.
In this.
The after
majority of people.
Yeah, the after credits. And character most people I didn't know, but I read the comics. I had no idea who Thanos was. When I saw Thanos, I was like, "Oh, that's a weird scroll." Because Secret Invasion, I think had come out around then. But like they introduced what would be like their greatest villain, like in a movie that wouldn't show up for another 6-7 years.
Yeah.
I did the.
Oh boy.
I didn't even know you did the meme, bro.
I did the thing.
This just dates us.
Yeah, so it and that also taught everyone a very bad lesson. It gave us a lot of people trying to be like, this villain is coming. Very soon, the villain will be here.
The big bad.
Yeah. where you make a very mediocre superhero film, and then you say, well, don't worry, a good one is on the way.
There's an evil villain coming soon. It's like, we don't want to see the villain.
Shout out to my boy Darkseid.
Yeah, Darkseid.
In the Ciderverse.
And you know, I never watched these movies, but Ghostbusters and like the all women remake, there was a post credit, and I forgot, it was they teased the main villain of the original one.
Yes,
and it just ended there. It's like
I think in the in our personal friend circle, we call this the next time baby syndrome.
Yeah.
Where you reference something that will happen in the future that never happens. Of course, started by Terrence Howard saying that he would be in Iron Man 2.
Damn. Next time, baby.
There wasn't a next time.
But she was not. And there's a lot of post credits that have gotten the next time baby treatment. And to the point where even in the MCU, they've had their own next time babies baby, where they've introduced characters that have gone nowhere. Okay.
Here's a list of them.
Remember Hercules?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Hercules. Yeah.
Clea from Multiverse of Madness?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She's still with Doctor Strange.
Yeah, she's still with Doctor Strange.
To be fair,
Star Fox?
Come on. That's what it was. Star Fox.
Star Fox. Yeah, Star Fox and Pip. What's the
Harry Styles?
Harry Styles. Yeah, Harry Styles and Patton Oswalt. Blade. Perhaps the greatest next time baby of all time.
And Black Knight at the same time as well.
Yes, at the same time. Both like any day now.
Any day now, guys.
Any day now.
You can just say we're making something and lie.
Yeah, no face.
And I would say this film had a lot of goodwill. I think this is our key lesson. If you're trying to do like your own Avengers, is the movie has to be good for people to want more. You can't put on a mid movie and say, well, better things might happen later.
Yeah, that's a key point there. Never write
very, very key.
Better movies are coming. Better movies are coming soon. This is your only chance. Just make a straightforward narrative story, end it all nice and clean. People would want more. Then you can make more. That's how you do it.
But you like going to a restaurant and you order all your food and it comes out kind of cold, and this isn't that great. Like, it's not even bad, but it's like cold. It's kind of mid. Experience is bad, but then before you leave, like the chef, you see the chef and like they're bringing in like all these cool, like all these good expensive ingredients. So, like the chef turns to you, and I'm like, well, if you come back later, the food will be good. I know it wasn't good today. Good things are coming.
There will be good.
Yeah, and that is a state of many a movie that have attempted to replicate this movie. So yeah, for all those factors, the X Factor for Avengers is a 5. It started the trend. For good or bad. It started it, and you know what? When it worked, when the ride was going, we were all having a good time. Let's face it.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't know. Okay, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how good we had it, and we just didn't know what would happen in the end. But while the ride was going, man, that Winter Soldier, Iron Man 3, even like Avengers Ultron, but especially post Ultron, when you had that Thor Ragnarok, Civil War, Black Panther, Captain Marvel to I think Infinity War run. When we were in peak MCU, when MCU could do nothing wrong, and all the films are hidden. All the films are hidden.
They're on a LeBron
Everything
run.
was great.
2016 LeBron run, bro. It was.
We just
something
didn't
special.
know.
We just, we don't know what we had until it's gone.
What's your scores on the X Factor?
Oh, I think
Give it a 4.
It's a 5 for me.
A 4. Okay. Okay. No. You have to elaborate on this one. You need to stand 10 toes down on why this movie is not unique. Please. The floor is yours. I will not let you just drop the score and walk away.
Yeah.
Please, Beto. Explain.
Show your work.
Yeah.
All right. All right, I'll check my work here. So, all right. So it's unique that it started this whole trend. It started this whole everything has to be the MCU. Everything has to look like the Avengers. I just feel like maybe, just maybe, they could have done more extraordinary things if they had different characters. If they had more characters in it. I know they were just.
I don't think this movie works if you put more characters in it.
Not like more characters, but at least I don't know.
Okay, they should have added.
What's your ideal Avengers 1 lineup?
My ideal?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just this. I think I'm more thinking about like the overall cinematic universe look, but I was just thinking like maybe, just maybe, tease Spider-Man. If they just teased Spider-Man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The only reason I didn't like or I didn't care about the MCU was Spider-Man. That was it. That was all it for me. And that was it for me.
This is actually your worst argument of all time. This is like bottom of the barrel, Beto. I'm sorry. This is subpar work.
It is subpar work.
Subpar work.
I'm also having cinephile hater right now.
It didn't have Spider-Man. Crazy. Have Spider-Man. They erased the Spider-Man. It's against Spider-Man. How do you suppose that, Beto?
He didn't have been there, bro.
They could have added something more into this. It just I don't know. I just felt like, I guess this was my contrarian point right here, where I just didn't feel like they could have added something a little bit more to the to overall aesthetics, or just I don't know. I don't know. This probably was just me just being contrarian.
I mean, honestly, as a Spider-Man fan, I get it. Because like after this movie, I'm just like, I remember looking up like Avengers 2 and Avengers 2 leaks, and I'm just going through like possible fan like theories of Spider-Man's gonna be in there. And I'm in my head like, yo, Spider-Man's definitely gonna be in Avengers 2. It makes so much sense, bro.
What if? Okay, so alternate universe. Okay, we're peering into the alternate timeline here.
Yeah.
What if the deal went through in Amazing Spider-Man 2, where I think we're supposed to be Avengers Tower in it, or it's the other way around? There's supposed to be Oscorp Tower.
Yeah,
one of the movies. Either way, I think there was some kind. I think it was supposed to be in Amazing Spider-Man 2. There's supposed to be Avengers Tower, and they were going to cross over.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you think would be like if the Spider-Man of the MCU was Andrew Garfield?
I think it would win.
Cool.
I think it would win okay.
Like at the time, I think it would have fit. But I will say, I would have wished to have seen him in. I mean, at that point, I didn't really care that much about like how the world connected at that point, but I would have liked to have seen him in a high school. But like, you already kind of see him in a high school in his own movie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, he could fit.
Yeah, and when Iron Man recruits him for a Civil War, he'd be like a grown man.
Yeah.
No, there wouldn't be. Sorry, Mr. Stark. Mr. Stark.
Yeah, there would not be Mr. Stark now.
There would not be a Mr. Stark. It would be like Tony. Shut up. I feel like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man would just tell Tony to shut up and leave him alone.
No, I can see a thing where he agrees to help out Iron Man or whatever, or maybe Iron Man offers some like a lucrative deal, almost kind of like what Iron Man does like in the comics, right?
Yeah.
Where he's able to take care of like his family and whatnot. But it could be a more emotional kind of split in a way, if he says actually no, I don't want to be part of this anymore. It would be a very different thing, but then again, we are entering the old man problem. Because I'll look up Andrew Garfield age.
He is not the right age.
42, folks. So that would mean
flips.
You would have 42-year-old Spider-Man running around.
Right now, I would, to be honest, I'd be very happy, but it would just be him almost retiring in a sense.
You don't even look that bad. I'm going to be honest. So I can still see it.
If it's just him and he probably has like a family already, sure. And then, we get the spin-offs.
Yeah.
I would say, yes, I would say if we got Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, we would have gotten Miles by now. For sure. We would have gotten live action Miles by now. Which, I don't know. I know they're salivating to get Miles in.
You know what?
They are itching.
Yeah. And now I retroactively just reconsiders like if Andrew Garfield was in the MCU, we wouldn't have gotten Spider-Verse into the Spider-Verse.
That's true.
So you know what? A sacrifice has to be made.
Mm-hmm. It was worth it. And I like Tom Holland. I do like Tom Holland.
Yeah.
We do need to stop getting British Spider-Man though. We need a proper New Yorker
from the Bronx.
You want to get a real guy from Queens?
Yeah, real guy from Queens.
Hey,
Where's America? I don't know why that's so hard. I know it's like such a impossible concept.
Well, because the British,
that's just the
British go incognito too well, bro.
They do. When are we gonna get the reverse? When are we gonna get an American actor that's going to go to Britain and pretend to be British on television? That's what I want. Okay, I want the reverse to happen.
Did we get an American who played James Bond, or am I just tripping?
I mean,
do we?
Is Roger Corman British? Or let me see. Roger. Why did I say Roger Corman? I meant Roger Moore. Is Pierce Brosnan British?
Pierce Brosnan is Irish.
Oh, okay. No, I think they're all British. I think that'd be a major scandal if we got American James Bond. The British would not be happy.
They barely got happy when they were a bit upset when a black woman was casted as James Bond.
Oh yeah.
Hold on. Technically, she was 007.
007. Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't James. Yeah, the mantle.
All right, so we're moving on to our last category, last but not least, hype moments and aura. And I would say this film is, it is a lot of hype and a lot of aura. But I think to talk about hype and aura, we have to talk about the aura gains and aura losses from the characters in this movie. Because, man, there are some gains and there's some losses, right? I would say... Right, if I had to do a tier list, right, I don't have it in front of me, but if I had like a tier list of like aura in this film, right, I would say at the top it's probably Hulk, Iron Man, and Hawkeye, right?
Okay, let's go.
And Hawkeye only because I would say Hawkeye never loses aura in the movie, right? No matter what side he's on, he only does cool stuff, right?
Right.
I'll say Black Widow's kind of neutral, right? But on the lower end, Captain America has perhaps the greatest aura loss of all time, bro.
He's getting used to the 17th century, bro.
Getting used to it. It's the same concept. Nothing changed. It's the same idea they did in World War II. Of some guy shooting at a gun. What do?
The guns have gotten better. Yeah, you see them blast, and he's like, "Whoa, those aren't the Second Amendment guns I'm using. Those were not."
Having Captain America get pressed by one guy with a gun is crazy, especially during how in the Battle of New York he's just fighting aliens, no problem, but he's getting pressed by this one guy with a gun, and he's like, "Oh, Stark, I can't reach the lever." And he's supposed to be an Avenger?
Did he have a shield with him?
What?
Did
He
he
don't
have
have a shield.
See, that's why you did have a shield.
Shield, bro. Not my goat. Okay, not my goat. Captain America would not get pressed by that. Thankfully, the Russos permanently increased his aura in The Winter Soldier, and he's moving a lot different in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Almost too much to the point as Age of Ultron Cap is boxing with Ultron. Cap throwing hands with Ultron, which I think that's a little too much. That is a little too much. But they really had my goat sell in this movie, and I'm very, very sad about the loss of aura on Cap's part. And I would say secondary aura loss, Loki. I've never seen a character gain and lose aura scene to scene.
Yeah, no. But because he loses his gains, it kind of evens out for me. Because like when he loses aura, another character is getting his, like the infamous Hulk smashing him.
Oh yeah, that was devastating. That was devastating.
God.
Uni God.
Yeah, but he's getting sold by like Hawkeye. Oh yeah,
he got cocky.
Even when like Hawkeye's like under the spell, he's just like locking in every moment.
Yeah, he was selling in like so many spots in this movie, and it's the game. It's the game. I'm glad that power scaling Twitter wasn't around for Avengers 1 because the slander that Captain America would have gotten might have been like permanent and irreparable. Right now we would be hearing about Captain Fraud America or Lactin America. And thankfully time passed, and he got movies in the future that made him as cool as he should be. But
I personally would give the hype in aura a 5. I think overall, like, there's so like every Avenger has their time to shine, but like the standouts for me is Hulk. Like we mentioned, Hawkeye got like a scene. Iron Man for sure when he carried the I want to say there is a Captain America, like maybe like with the initial like Captain America scene when he was protecting the people.
Yes, I would say. I think the scene when he's on a bus and he's shouting orders to the police officers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Why should we listen to you?" And he casually, takes out like 4 Chitauri, and they're like, "Okay, yeah,
we gotta do that." Yeah, that seems great. That seems great. Everyone has attention to that, and like you feel the energy of these scenes. Like the best scene, of course, or at least top 3 of like in either this movie or even throughout the MCU, if you want to say, is that ensemble shot.
Yes,
where they're all getting together, the camera's spinning, everyone's doing their thing, and the soundtrack is played in the background. That is the most perfect. That feeling hasn't been touched until like Portals again.
And I would say, like, and think about it, the craziest part is you literally, like, if you were a fan at that time, like myself, you watched 4 movies for that shot. right? You watch four and like I'd say like half if you include the movie you're watching now, to see that shot, and it was worth it. Okay, right. When they signed the check for the Avengers in Iron Man 1, right? The money was good. The money they cashed it in, and the money was good. And I would say, I think they've tried to replicate that in the future to different success, but I think that is why the cinematic universe took off like it did, because that's never been done before. You never had a case of like, let's go bring together like 4 different movies so they can do one mega movie at the end, and we can build up this moment. That's crazy. And, hats off to them for pulling it off and continuing to pull it off for at least, till like 2019.
They were in their bag when they made this, for sure.
Peak MCU was something special. Peak MCU was something special. So I would say, yeah, it's a 5 for me too.
You want 5 around.
Oh wow!
5 around. The third act of the movie is totally just hype moments and aura through and through. The Iron Man scene where he's just like it's like that one shot just going through New York. Also just using his repulsors on Captain America's shield just to mow down some of the Chitauri. Then him just going up to I guess where I think like up to. Yeah, just that tracking shot all the way to where like Thor and Hulk are like battling over some other Chitauris and like that one spaceship alien Chitauri like. Mm-hmm. So it's truly like that one. Just the third act was really great with like all the act with great action scenes. There were some great action scenes and hype moments in like the beginning and the middle. I think like the
first act does a very good job of building up the hype.
Yeah. And like the scene where like just like Iron Man just shows up and it's like miss me while he just hacks the Quinjet, and it's like he just plays AC/DC. that was a good one.
Yeah, when he fights Thor in the thing. Yeah, I would say that moment where he fights Thor in the forest, and like Thor hits him with a thunderbolt. And, Jarvis is like, your battery systems have charged up to 400%.
How about that?
That really works. That really works.
Oh, and like before he even went to see Thor, like he was on the Quinjet with like Captain America, and Captain is like, what's your plan of attack? I have a plan. Attack.
Yeah, I have a plan. Attack.
Yeah,
the lines in this movie are so good.
The lines are great. The lines are really good, and it definitely sells the movie.
Or the Hulk line where it's just like right before they're about to attack the Leviathan Chitauri, Cap's like, Bruce, get angry, and he's like, that's the thing, Hulk. That's the thing, Cap. I'm always angry.
Yeah, everybody was just like quoting that. Back then, I remember everybody was just like, I always get angry in like school.
There's a reason it works, man. There's a reason it works. Even the side characters get cool moments. I mean, it's like Nick Fury is very cool in this movie, and Phil, what's the actor? Clark Gregg. Yeah, it's Phil Coulson. I mean, Phil Coulson as a character did not exist in the comics. No. They made him up.
Does he not?
No.
Nope.
Oh, wow.
He's an OC. But hey, everyone liked him. Everyone liked him. He was very endearing, like very endearing, lovable shield like lackey. Man, to play he had a whole TV show.
Agents of Shield
that the MCU tries to forget desperately.
Even though it tried to connect itself, there were some actors that pop up in that show.
But yeah, I mean, that's Avengers was the thing. Also, yeah, it's another thing about Avengers gave us as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I didn't talk about it earlier, but it did give us an entire, TV show with Phil Coulson and a bunch of other characters, and they ran around and did adventures. And I watched like the first, like, I'm gonna say 2 or 3 seasons. I think I didn't get to the big Hydra plot when that kicked off, but yeah, they did all kinds of stuff in Agents of Shield as it went along. I think Ghost Rider shows up at some point. You know, that was a whole thing. It was a whole thing because of this movie. But yeah.
I remember when I think I've seen only maybe like up to 2 seasons of the show. But like originally when it came out, I remember being like, okay, surely this is the episode where one of the Avengers is gonna like pop up. Because I feel like the marketing for the show was very much like, yes, it is the world of Avengers.
Yeah. And anytime, sorry. The best I can do for you, Chief, is when Thor: The Dark World comes out. We'll do an episode about not about Thor: Dark World, but there's guys that maybe have like an Asgardian weapon. That's the best I got for you.
Bruh. I felt so chipped as a kid, bro.
All right, so we got our scores. We put together our final score for the Avengers. All right. My score is a 4.4.
4.1.
Okay.
4.8.
Okay. And 3. So the final score for the Avengers 2012 is a 4.4, which is pretty good. Pretty good. Which means officially peak fiction.
Yes, sir.
Crazy. It's on the mountain. 12.4 officially peak fiction. You know what? I'm happy about it. You know, is Avengers perfect? No. Is it the best Marvel movie? No. But it's still a good time. I don't care what you say. I don't care, you know. You can be as cynical as you want. It's a good time. Yes. Did the Avengers bring numerous consequences upon cinematic history? Yes, this is true.
Yes.
But hey, we had a good time, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, who do you guys think was the most clutch Avenger during the invasion?
Clutch? I mean, it's got to be Iron Man, right? He's really putting it. He's doing. I think he's doing the most variety of work. I mean, Hulk's a powerhouse, but I would say in terms of variety and spread, and like, you know, he's like the quarterback, I would say.
Yeah.
Right.
Catching a nuke and launching it up in the air. Yeah, I feel it's Iron Man too. I remember that question being asked when they first showed it to me in class. I'm just like, it's either Iron or Hulk. And it was like, more people said Hulk because he was strong and he's strong, right? But I'm like, but Iron Man just did so much though. Like,
well, I mean, that's when you gotta remember that's when Hulk still had fans, though. That's when there certainly, you know, the disappointment hadn't come yet. All right, so pretty good episode, I would say. If you've made it this far and you enjoy the content, please follow, like, subscribe. Also, we have a Twitter now.
Hooray.
Was this a good decision? Who can say? But let it be known the Twitter page does reflect the values and thoughts and opinions of every single member of this podcast collectively. Whenever I post, like, I go into a flow state where I link up and I channel everyone's thoughts and emotions collectively.
This is Cap. Your Honor, this is Cap.
So, I'll post it on socials and all that stuff. And next week, our next thing that we'll be covering is we're stepping into the realm of manga. And I think, is this our first manga we're covering?
Technically Akira?
Yeah, but that's like
JoJo's. Oh, but we haven't really done JoJo's.
What JoJo?
We did. Which we haven't finished it. We did still by run. Well, it's our second manga. Very, very big franchise. We are going to Dragon Ball Z, and of course, we can't review all of Dragon Ball Z, so we'll be doing it saga by saga. And next week, we will be reviewing the Saiyan saga. So we will be doing the manga, and we'll probably. I mean, I know for me personally, I'll probably watch a few episodes as well. to get the real feel for it. But we will be covering the Saiyan Saga from Dragon Ball Z. So if you want to catch up on that, see what we're reviewing, look forward to seeing you then. And I think that is all, right?
We'll come back to MCU somewhere along the line.
And also along with the Saiyan Saga, and return to manga, we will also see the return of our fourth co-host, Gray. He has been in the hyperbolic time chamber. We did betray him and trap him in the hyperbolic time chamber for a month. But he will return to cover the Saiyan Saga with us all. So we look forward to you all there.
Can't wait to hear what he's saying.
Can't wait to Kamehameha with y'all.
But all right, we'll catch you next time.
Good night, everybody. Sleep.
Good
See ya.
Sleep tight. See y'all. Thank you for coming. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.